embodying your authentic selves and stepping on the stage in front of people who don't necessarily know, who ain't even from here, right? And being vulnerable. And that's one of the things that I love about this program, BAM and WOW, is the power of vulnerability. For a long time, I struggled with that. For a long time, I didn't think I should open up. I saw it as weakness. But through this program, I found my superpower. And not just my own, I see other people's superpowers. And so it's just amazing when I see these young gentlemen sit here and open up and speak to y'all their actual truth. And for y'all to receive that. So thank y'all. I'm not done yet, but I just want to stop and say thank you. I still need a little bit more for you, so stay with me. Stay with me. So next, I would like to ask, what is a moment from your BAM experience that shifted your thinking, made you see yourself differently, or changed you?
I want to reflect back to the time when I was a freshman, and there was a Kozbach experience. And I say this because we were down in downtown Boston. This was like my first time ever really experiencing the city, how it should be felt. And we went to a university and we stayed there for 4 days.
Yes.
And then at the end of the day, at the end of like the trip, I had to stand in front of, like we walked through like so many people, and then like this was like the first time I think I've ever seen like 1,000 people in one room, and then where I had to talk about one of the core values.
Yes.
This was very scary, like just like talking about it, made me blush because it was very scary to just talk about like the program. And public speaking for me has always been like a very scary task. And then so standing there and then just like saying like, hey, my core value is like respect for womanhood, and these are some of the reasons why I value it and things like that. So I think when I reflect on that experience, I really appreciated BAM because I didn't want to do it. But then I remember my mentor at the time, Jose, and he says, no, you have to do it. You're the right person for this, and then you have to just go in there and break that comfort zone. And I think this is where BAM really thrive and really pushing young men in areas that perhaps that they're not familiar with.
Yeah. Thank you. I still want to stay on this question, but before that, you mentioned something. You said something. What did you say about being comfortable?
Like I think you have to like challenge it in a way.
So it's almost like we gotta be comfortable with being uncomfortable. How can I grow if I'm always chilling? If I'm not pushing myself, if I'm not having a challenging experience, where is there for me to go? If I just stay in my little zone. Thank you for that. Excellent. So a moment in time from your BAM experience that shifted your thinking or changed who you are.
Yes. I remember this very potently. We had the opportunity in our BAM circle to speak with a man who I believe was that year he had lost his daughter to suicide. And prior to that, I had no real experience with such a sensitive topic, let alone hear from someone so direct. And within that moment, I was able to see him more as someone that was just participating in the circle, just as a human. I think when we see the humanity in each other, we become more whole. And I then saw BAM as a home. And I don't think home is like a place. I don't think it's a state, a lackluster sports organization like the Kansas City Chiefs.
Hey, K. Ross, that's one.
It's not a state, it's not a place, but I believe home is when you're whole. And that's exactly the work that BAM and WOW are doing every single day, and I try to reflect that in my actions. So I'll compliment someone, I'll open the door, I'll say like, oh hey, like you have a nice beard. And they're like, how many times have you been complimented on your beard? Well, add one to that because I like it. That day with that man, he was able to laugh. And I fortunately haven't lost anyone super close to me. And I know that time will come, but it's shown to me, like, even in those moments, with those experiences, and he's going to live with that experience for the rest of his life, there's still places where he can feel like he's home, where he can smile, where he can laugh, and feel a part of something. That's the change.
Thank you for that. Before you go, Jaden, I just wanted to highlight something. When you said, like, when we all have to go through something that BAM and WOW, at least for me, in my experience, it's not about emotional management.
Right.
It's about emotional processing. You gotta go through that process. I have to go through that process. I can't just manage my emotions, because in short, I'm compartmentalizing. When you compartmentalize, there's pressure. When there's pressure, what's gonna happen? It's gonna explode. So it's about the process. It's not necessarily about the end result. It's about the journey. What am I gonna do when I'm faced with this adversity? How am I gonna get there? How am I gonna handle it? How do I process these feelings that I may never have or wanted to ever process in my life before? And thank you for sharing that, Josh. That's just what came up for me when you said that. Jaden, go ahead.
I think a moment in BAM that kind of changed me and changed my life was definitely, I forgot where exactly it was or what year. I believe it was going into my sophomore year of high school. Myself, a couple of BAM scholars, actually, my friend Kendrick Lloyd, Mr. Brown, Mr. Ross, we drove like 50 minutes, 45 minutes outside of Boston to host the BAM circle. Was it a church? Barbershop?
Barbershop.
Barbershop.
Yeah.
Barbershop talk.
Actually, it's a church. Barbershop in the church.
Exact barbershop in the church. And just like it was spoken by Josh and Thomas, yeah, I had to learn that day to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. I was always really reserved with my feelings in my childhood. You know, not everybody has it easy, and life in the city is a lot harder on us than most people think. And I found myself always being reserved in my emotions and in my feelings. Like was said before, I had a tough time processing those emotions. And oftentimes I would hold it in so much and bottled up from that pressure. Built up too much and it exploded. It was always on the wrong people.
That's right.
And I remember that day, you know, Mr. Ross and Mr. Brown, you know, they didn't hold anything back. Full vulnerability. They let us know everything that happened to them and with them in their lives, the hardships they went through all the success they have now. And it really it touched me deeply because.
Now there it is, man.
Shake.
Yeah. Let it go, baby.
That's the work, that's the picture.
Yes, sir.
Great work.
I apologize.
No.
I promised myself to keep it cool. Thank you, Tommy. And that was a full day. I felt myself, you know, fully let go. I let out everything. I remember bawling my eyes out during the circle, after the circle, and from then I actually took every single point and step in our core values. Damn, again. With BAM, I completely changed my life around. I started implementing that stuff into my life that day. I remember one thing that was always said to me, and I always remember was, you don't have to ever pay me back, make sure you pay it forward.
Hey,
And everything I gave to you, I gave to my little brothers, I passed it to my mom. And I just, you know, once again, you know, say I'm eternally grateful. Thank you so much for that.
Really, actually.
I like to say, or I like to think that I have a bad memory, I really do. But there was this one moment for me, actually with Josh. It was a BAM circle that we had together. It was one of the first few of that freshman year cohort. Didn't know what I was doing, didn't know what to expect. I got in a room, they told us to sit in a circle. I thought it was gonna be some whole activity, I was scared. But I had no clue what I was walking into, in the sense that I was going to have my whole world flipped upside down. I was gonna sit there, I didn't know I was gonna sit there and be questioned in ways and given tools, in a sense, to be able to look within myself. I had always looked outside of myself, look for outside gratification from places or looking for joy within other people rather than trying to find the joy within myself and do the work within myself that needed to be done to be able to be comfortable with not only who I am, but who I was planning to become.
Come on.
And that for me that day was funny because brother J Rock, I call him brother Jamal, but I call him brother J Rock because I rock with my guy. But he had asked me a series of questions just surrounding why I chose to run away from a lot of like my problems or my feelings around certain things.